Out before we begin. Definitely want to make sure this recorder is going because I got to record this audio later. All right, we got that going on. That's good. Okay. Let's see here. Just syncing up our audience here. Give me a second here, guys. Everything is everything. Everything is everything. And everything looks good to go. Switch accounts real quick here. Switch accounts here. Correct. Okay. All right, that's good. All right, that's good. All right, I'm just making sure everything is synced up pretty good before I begin to do the show, guys. So just bear with me. We're going to start in about 60 seconds here. All right, that looks good. Yeah. All right, let's do it.
Warning, the RCWR show with Lee Sanders is intended for a mature audience only. The following is an Infinity One Productions presentation, keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive. Covering the latest in wrestling and beyond since 2011. You're listening to the RCWR show. Now, your host, live from the nation's capital in Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
Hey, what's going on, good kind people? Good Wednesday night to you all. Lee Sanders here. You're checking out an all-new RCWR show dropping Wednesday of January 27th, 2021. Just a couple of minutes removed from AEW Dynamite for this week. We're going to talk a little bit about that in a hot minute. What did you guys think of tonight's AEW Dynamite, of this Wednesday's AEW Dynamite? Sound off. Let me know. We're streaming live for the next little bit on multiple platforms. We're streaming live on YouTube. Find us at youtube.com/the RCWR show. Also streaming on Twitter and on Twitch. One of those outlets. Let your voice be heard. Appreciate you guys that's going to be checking this out live, or you're going to be checking this out for on demand and on the downloads. I'm a little bit behind on the content here, man. So I watched Impact Wrestling for this week earlier this afternoon, and I actually recorded a new Impact Showdown covering Fallout from it. That audio is ready to go as we speak, as far as actually taking that audio and uploading it to the platform so you guys can check it out. That's actually ready to go. But sadly, where things kind of get a little bit what the fuck is I actually forgot about one of my sponsors. I actually got a sponsor for the next couple of weeks, and sadly I forgot to put in the sponsor's ad. So that episode of Impact Showdown is ready to go. I just got to slide in that sponsor's ad right at the beginning. I don't need to put it anywhere particular. I can honestly put it right at the beginning, and then it's good to go. So, yeah, you guys that's looking for Impact Showdown, that's actually going to drop immediately after I get done with this episode. So check out wherever you get your podcasts for that one. Other than that, I've pretty much been busy just catching up on some homework stuff and everything. But I'm rocking and rolling. I'm good to go. So you guys may have noticed, Lee, I see the Sting thumbnail, but I don't see you physically. What's going on, Lee? I normally am able to see you. What's going on? I look like shit right now, to be perfectly honest with you, and I've been yawning non-fucking stop. So I don't want you guys to see me yawning every single... You have no idea. I'm tired. I'm that fucking tired, man. It's fucking ridiculous. But no, I kind of feel like shit, so I'm just taking it easy over here. You guys should be okay for one episode, yeah? You guys literally just saw my fucking face Monday night. You guys should be okay. So, Dynamite, I gotta tell you, because I saw when we were doing the show Monday night, and I sadly caught the tail end of it. Some of you guys were actually pretty excited that I was going to be doing a Wednesday night show. I know you guys miss me doing the Wednesday night shows. I miss doing the Wednesday night shows. You guys have no idea how much I miss doing the Wednesday shows. Hopefully we can do more Wednesday night shows. It just really depends on what's going on with the schedule, if it's hectic and all of that crazy shit, but it's nice to do a rare Wednesday night show for you guys. I have not talked about the AEW product, nor have I talked about the NXT product in several weeks. So the way we're doing it this go round, just for this week, I'm going to keep things simple, and I just want to talk about AEW Dynamite. I know a lot of you guys are used to me bouncing all over the place when it comes to the Wednesday show. Sadly, I was not able to watch NXT because my tablet literally fucking died right when I was ready to have my nice sweet ass setup, have AEW streaming on the big TV, and have NXT streaming on my tablet. I was so fucking ready to do it, and I thought my tablet was charging. My tablet was not charging. Dudes, to say I was beyond pissed would be an understatement. It would be a serious understatement. So we're just going to talk about NXT tonight. I am actually going to be able to mix up some talk of Impact Wrestling as well, just to kind of follow up on something I've touched upon off and on the past couple of weeks. So look, as I said, this was my first time really being able to be here tonight with you all and talk about the AEW product. I gotta say, good show this week. I thoroughly had enjoyed what AEW put out there this week, with a couple of areas though. I have some concerns in some areas. We'll get into it though. But overall, I thought what they did with the show for this week was pretty damn good. MJF and Chris Jericho taking on the Varsity Blondes was one of our opening matchups for the night. Have that in the back of your mind. But we get a Sting, Darby Allin promo. These guys are somewhere in a warehouse. It kind of had one of those weird OG Edge entrances to it. You remember how Edge's entrance was? His video? Remember his video from back in the day? You think you know me. And I'm talking about the old school you think you know me. I ain't talking about the on this day I see clearly. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the old school Edge entrance. And if you remember looking at the video for that, my man was running around all over the place. He was running on a train. He was running down the street. Looked like at one point he was running in a warehouse or some weird shit like that. Hey, looking at Sting and Darby Allin, and I'm just looking at these guys in this warehouse, and I'm just trying to figure out exactly, okay, where the fuck are these guys exactly? Because it just seemed like you were watching something from MTV 120 Minutes or some shit. I was just ready for Darby Allin to just break out and go, hey, I'm Darby. Hey, Sting. We're going to be playing some of the greatest music from all things metal and rock for the next hour. Coming up next, one of my personal favorites, a little Metallica. Sting, you a Metallica fan? Woo! I guess I'll take that as a yes. Yeah, alright. So we're going to play some Metallica. And we're going to play some more shit. Stick around. It kind of felt like it had one of those type of vibes to it when I'm watching them. But then they opened their mouths and talked, and this pretty much had everything to do with broken windows. Sting, Darby Allin in a warehouse, broken windows, breaking even more windows as the icon Sting opened up by saying he took great offense by Team Taz of being called a hoodlum. He says that Darby Allin, he might be a hoodlum. Sure, Darby Allin steps in from there And this is pretty quiet about it. He's pondering on it for a few seconds, but admits, yeah, you know what? I am a Darby Allin. And he follows it up saying it doesn't matter if you play dirty or if you play clean in the streets. At the end of the day, it's all about survival. And he just, for reasons unknown, tosses his skateboard into the window. Yeah. So, you've already got some broken windows, but just to add more insult to injury and just to kind of look really cool, just to keep up with the cosmetics, we just gotta take a skateboard and we just gotta throw it through the window, basically. I don't know about you guys, but back in my day when I was riding on skateboards and shit, I like how I just opened that motherfucker up, by the way, and I said, back in my day, old man Lee here. Old man Lee here. No, seriously. That for me was just perplexing because I've had my share of riding skateboards. And the last thing on my mind would be to throw my skateboard up against a window, let alone up against a door. I don't care if the windows could break rather easily. It's never dawned on me in all my years. You know what would be cool? If I just take my skateboard and I just try to see if I can break I've never done anything like that before in my life. So yeah, to each its own. That was weird. Sting, on the other hand, as Darby Allin said to Sting after manning up, yeah, you know what, I'm a hoodlum, sure. Yeah, he follows it up after that nice little promo, says to Sting, you're a hoodlum too. Sting just quietly takes his baseball bat and he just starts smashing at some glass windows as well. Yeah, it was just one of those nights, so that pretty much was our one and only time that we saw Darby Allin and the Stinger. It's Sting! It's the only time that we saw those guys. I need to have a Tony Schiavone button. Every single time I just go and mention Sting, I just need to have a Tony Schiavone button just queued up, ready to go. It's Sting! Do it just like that. That'd be fucking badass. So look, this is my first time actually commenting on the Sting being a in-ring competitor now officially, as he's going to be teaming up with Darby Allin, and they're going to be fighting Ricky Starks and the Machine, Brian Cage. They're going to be fighting these guys at AEW's Revolution coming up this February. We heard a little bit of chatter and everything that was going on. Probably the one definitive moment that happened within recent weeks was hearing Tony Schiavone say on a AEW Dynamite post show that the Sting would in fact be wrestling. He would wrestle a couple of times out of the year. And I remember I talked about it on an episode of the RCWR show, but I didn't really spend a lot of time just marinating on the fact that, okay, Sting's wrestling. I spent more time on Tony Schiavone revealing that piece of news, but it was still at that point, and I'm sure for a lot of people, rather hard to still process and just, oh, really? Is that where, or for Tony Schiavone to say that, that's just, woo. That's some weight right there. Just nonchalant about it, just threw it out there. And, for me, after hearing that announcement, my whole thing was, okay, so how much time is going to pass exactly until we finally get to that point where Sting is, in fact, going to be an in-ring competitor? Like, it's announced. This is when we're going to be seeing him. Well, we didn't have to wait that long, did we, folks? We really did not. So, here we are, officially. Let me go on record about this. Sting, Darby Allin. It's going to be a street fight that they're going to be having with Brian Cage, Ricky Starks. Look, I know a lot of people, especially the diehard Sting fans, very concerned about Sting. I do my rounds. I usually interact with folks in Reddit forums, wrestling forums, chat with folks in Discord. I make my rounds and I see what people are saying, and I totally understand where people are coming from. People are legit concerned for Sting. They do not want to see anything bad happen to this man. I get that. I get that on so many levels. I am right there with you. I have gone on record many times and I've said to you guys, hey man, I don't want to see the 61 going on 62-year road be in a position where he could possibly damn near risk paralysis. I don't want to see that happening. I've gone on record many times and said, as far as I'm concerned, the man has given us decades and decades and decades of wrestling. We're good. As far as I'm concerned, I am good. I don't need to see any new chapters. If I want to relive some moments, I can just easily go hop on the WWE Network, hop on Daily Motion or whoever. I can pull up whatever match. I can even pull up this shit if I wanted to that WWE Network doesn't have. I can just go wherever and I can pull up XYZ. That's if I remember it. And I will just go from there. I am good. He will forever be immortal in my mind as I revisit just the great extensive library of his matches that's out there. Memorable promos, too. I've got to be one of the few people that actually did not mind Joker Sting. Joker Sting gets so much fucking flack, man. It's not even funny. It's not even funny. It seems like every other week I hear people bash the fuck out of Joker Sting. But I love Joker Sting. Who cares? He was inspired by the Joker. Who cares? Just the fact that he was able to take it and do what he was able to do with it, I was okay with it. I thought that was refreshing, honestly. I thought it was a nice little refreshing take. Inspired, but refreshing for the Sting character. So, 61 going on 62, he's doing this. I'm concerned, but with that concern, I also say, well, you know what? This is the wise man Lee talking here. This is a street fight. All right, so Sting can go into this street fight and he can easily do what he needs to do. We ain't got to worry about Sting going through a table. We don't have to worry about Sting fighting somebody on top of a turnbuckle and somebody pushes Sting off of that turnbuckle. No, we don't have to worry about anything as far as that goes. Just a straight up street fight. All right, so Sting's going to be able to legit use his bat. He's going to be able to use his fist. He's going to be doing some kicks. He's going to be doing some punches. Okay, cool. Foreign objects. All right, cool. Anything physical that comes to Sting from an offensive point from Brian Cage or Ricky Starks, okay, easy way to clean that up. They're either going to be punching him. They're either going to be kicking him. Okay, maybe somebody's going to grab a trash can. Maybe somebody's going to grab a trash can lid. Come on, man. Those things are like a dime a dozen. Come on now. We know the real deal when it comes to some of those props now, do we not? We don't need to school. If we got to school you guys tonight on some of those props, you too young to be listening to this show. That's how I'm going to put it to you guys cold-heartedly, all right? So, all right. So there's no reason to be concerned about Sting in this street fight match, right? There really isn't. How about, okay, what about a ladder? Well, look, any crazy bonkers type of shit that's going to go down in this match, Darby's going to be doing all the crazy shit. He's an insane in the brain guy. He's the one that's going to be doing all the Daredevil, the Defy-ish stuff, okay? He's going to be the one that's going to be on that cross, not just for himself, but for Sting. Cage, Starks, they're the ones that's going to be doing all the crazy Mamma Mia stuff. All right. Sting, he's going to be okay. He's going to be okay. I would be shocked I would be shocked if a scenario were to occur and we see Sting go outside of those parameters that I just laid out, and it's what the fuck? I would legit be tell you that right now. I mean, who wouldn't be? Who wouldn't be? So let's see what happens once we get past this, because we know eventually, some point, we're going to be seeing Sting, Cody, one-on-one. Now, you're not going to be able to do what are you going to do for that one? When you do get to it, what are you going to do? Are you going to do another street fight? Are you going to do a hardcore match? Are you going to do a steel cage match? How are you going to go about that one? That, if there's any match where I'm concerned yet not concerned, and I know that's kind of, Lee, you're confusing me. Two things can be true. I'll explain briefly. If there's one match I'm concerned about that not Cody, but Sting could eventually have it again, Sting versus Cody. I'm concerned, but I'm not concerned. I smell a mile away that could be just a straight up one-on-one traditional match. I'm not concerned because as long as I've watched the career of Cody Rhodes, he is simply one of the best. I've never heard of a scenario where, man, this person had faced Cody Rhodes and they got injured. I've never heard, even with my own two eyes, just looking over the massive body of work that Cody has given us over the years, I've never, ever, as far as I can recall, Cody had this match with this one guy and somehow this guy got injured in the match with Cody. Cody either fucked up a spot or, wouldn't you know it, just a bad case of fucking luck. This guy got injured while he was wrestling Cody. I've never heard of any situation like that before. So you want to talk about one of your safest workers that's out there. Yeah, I would definitely say Cody, he fits that bill. Am I okay with Cody, Sting, when it does happen? Yeah, I'm definitely okay with that. And I think a lot of you guys should definitely be okay with that as well. As long as nothing crazy. You feel what I'm talking about? That's where you gotta be really, really concerned, is when things start getting so crazy. There's that adrenaline rush for that wrestler and they're feeling invincible, and then you're just feeding off of what's happening in that ring. And now we're in this position where AEW has a little bit of fans that's in attendance. You got your peers watching as well, and they're rooting on and everything. Yeah, that adrenaline sometimes can get the best of you, and then you start doing crazy extreme shit, and that could come back to bite you big time. I'm in the case of eventually when Cody takes on Sting, not concerned. I wouldn't mind seeing Sting taking on Dustin. That's another one where I say that's a very safe match. That's a damn good match right there. It would be. So this street fight that's going to be happening at AEW Revolution, I'm not concerned. I'm not concerned whatsoever. I will be paying attention, like many of you, very closely to how that action comes about. Am I excited for the Stinger? I am. I'm excited because it's a new chapter that he's embarking, and I'm curious to see how things go. There's that part of me also that is very, very concerned, and I just want for him physically to be in the best state possible, particularly after the match is done. I want him to be able to go back to his loved ones, no problems. That's where I'm most concerned. So we'll see what happens. But other than that opener, that was your opener for Dynamite. First matchup of the night, MJF and Chris Jericho taking on Varsity Blondes. Jericho had grabbed the mic, wanted Griff to just quit. Just go ahead, quit right there, dog. Before the match even began, Griff wasn't having any of that. Griff just cold clocked Jericho. Pretty much, action is on. Good stuff. Good stuff right here. You know what? Rather short match too. It was actually a rather short match. This one was about, I would say, barely 9 minutes. Barely 9 minutes, give or take. Chris Jericho won, and MJF. They both won via lion salt. You know, Jericho just got to do that lion salt, yo. You know, I know Jericho past couple of weeks, he was getting fat shamed and all that other shit, and Jericho did that lion salt. I don't know. I guess Jericho had to drive home the fact that he can still do that move and do a cover at the same time. Come on, baby! Hey, good for you. You can do that lion salt. As I always like to tell people, look, man, when it comes to weight, everybody has their struggles. Whether you're struggling to lose weight or you're struggling to maintain the weight that you already have. You know, you're not trying to get extremely skinny, right? I mean, everybody has their own struggles when it comes to weight loss slash weight gain. You know, at the end of the day, you just got to feel comfortable being in your own skin. You know, it doesn't matter what other people's opinions, you know, good, bad, indifferent. It really shouldn't matter what they say. What matters at the end of the day is how you feel. Because you're the one that has to look at yourself in the mirror every day. You know, if you're picking up weight or you're slightly obese, you know, you got to have that conversation with yourself and go, all right, what's going on with me physically? Am I breathing a little bit too hard? Am I sweating profusely without really barely moving? Am I having a lot of acid reflux, even when it's been several hours since I've eaten? You know, these are questions that you got to ask yourself. But most importantly, when you're going in for your checkups, you're talking with your doctor and everything. You feel where I'm coming from, folks? So, I mean, you're the one that's got to look in deep and be like, am I cool with where I am with how I look? And if you're not cool with whatever's going on with you, spiritually, physically, mentally, then you've got to change it. You've got to change it. So, you know, it's nice to see in some shape or form Jericho taking what all was said about him online and using it as extra motivation to, you know, try to lose weight and everything. By the way, I thought it was rather hilarious seeing the shit that was going on between Chris Jericho and Jim Cornette. I don't know if you guys had peeped that out. And I'm most curious, by the way, how are you guys with regards to not Chris Jericho, but Chris Cornette within recent weeks? I got my Chris's mixed up. I'm just going to start calling Chris Jericho, Jericho, and I'll just call, why was I thinking Chris Cornette? What the fuck is going on with me tonight? Anyway, Jim Cornette. I don't know why I was getting that mixed up there. But no, did you guys see the bullshit that was going on there between Jim Cornette and Jericho? Did you guys see that shit? So in case you missed it, Jericho had put out a tweet, and his tweet read, I've been told, and he actually at Jim Cornette and Brian Last, Jim Cornette's co-host. So he mentioned both of them. Let them know, hey, I hear what's up. I see you. And he said, I've been told Jim Cornette and his sidekick Brian Last continue to brutally bury me for everything I do and say. My response to that is this: have at it. You're entitled to your opinions, and I'm honored to provide content that helps you pay your bills. Best of luck to both of you. And look, if you've been making your rounds at some point, checking out Cornette's content, I would say like within the past 3 months, the guy that does the artwork thumbnails for their audio uploads when they're doing their excerpt clips and stuff, I mean, the artwork is hilarious. A lot of times, look, that artwork is clickbait at its finest, because you just are looking, you're like, what the fuck? And you're just, okay, I gotta click this. I gotta fucking hear this. So it is great strategic marketing 101. It's good shit. It is good shit. If you want to just have a nice hearty laugh and you got about 5 minutes to spare one day, just kick back. Don't even listen to an audio clip unless you want to, of course, but just spend 5 minutes just scrolling through Corny's videos and just looking at the thumbnails. You would just have a fucking field day laughing your ass off. But there's been a lot of thumbnails. When you stop and think about it, there's been a lot of stuff there about Jericho. So there's no disputing what Jericho is saying. Some people may feel, Jericho's overreacting. They're not talking about him as much as he thinks. No, they actually are. But to the question I was getting ready to ask you guys a few seconds ago, what's up with you guys these days when it comes to checking out Cornette and Brian Last? I'm most curious. For me, I've gotten to that point where it's just so goddamn negative all the goddamn time. When it comes to them talking about the AEW product, the WWE product, I don't really know their position on NXT. I don't know if they really give that a lot of praise. I know Cornette loves Rhea Ripley. I mean, he's been very vocal about that many times. But other than that, I don't know just overall if he's a fan of the NXT product or not. So you all would have to chat me up about that. But are y'all still checking out Cornette regularly? For me, it's just gotten to the point where unless something major and breaking has happened, like the passing of Brody, I was curious what Cornette had to say, or maybe Larry King, something historic, or if I want to just go down memory lane and do a little bit of wrestling revisionist history, I'll maybe listen to Corny for that. But as far as what's going on with today's wrestling and everything, I just I don't even check out the clips as much as I used to. And I'm actually a member of Cult of Cornette. But even at that, it just got to the point I was always seeing a lot of negativity, even in that form. I was seeing so much negativity and unnecessary joking. It was just like, okay, yeah. So I hit the snooze button on that fucking group. I'm like, I'm done for a little bit. I just need a break. I'm curious where you guys are. If you guys have kind of gone down that same path I've gone, you're almost at that point. What's up? Let me know. So Cornette had, or Jericho rather, put that out there on Twitter. Corny followed up and he said, "Thanks, Chris. If you put the vodka down, go on a low-carb diet, had enough pride to quit doing cheerleading routines with outlaw wrestlers and stop giving your money to a lunatic psychopath leading an insurrection against the U.S., I don't know what I'd have to talk about. Hashtag stupid idiot." And he follows that up by saying to Jericho, "Sorry, I forgot to mention recklessly and with no regard for anyone's safety, spreading a potentially deadly disease around the world because his midlife crisis demands he go out and play with the children. There's that too." I mean, just fucking vicious from Corny right there. Of course, Corny following up on Jericho revealing recently, I had came down with COVID last September, and I was able to defeat it, blah, blah, this, blah, blah, that. And I didn't really have any symptoms, blah, this, blah, that. Look, as far as somebody's political beliefs, it's sad that in 2021, this is where we are right now in our American history. But I think it's rather sad that in regards to politics, we've now gotten to that point where, wait a minute, you voted for this person? Wait a minute, you actually endorsed with this person? Just the constant bickering, the fighting, the ending of marriages, friendships, relationships, because this person is with this party affiliation and this person is anti-abortion and this person is pro-life and all this. I mean, it's a fucking headache. It's a fucking headache, man. Look, with regards to Chris Jericho supporting Trump, right down to the point he was coming out of his pocket, and he was actually, over the years, he's actually been giving something to Trump. You know what? That's his business. If it got to the point where he decided, I want to have some of Trump's family on my podcast, all right, man, that's your choice. That's your choice. So as long as you're willing to deal with the scrutiny that's going to come from that, because you're leaving yourself wide fucking open by opening that Pandora's box. You really, really are. And look at where he is now. Jericho, that is. Look at where he is now. Look at all the shit that's been going on with the former president. Look what's been going on with him. The insurrection, the shit that went down here in Washington, D.C. with the Capitol riot. Look at all of that shit. You got a bunch of motherfuckers that's trying to stay clear of that as much as humanly possible. That's why look, when it comes to talking politics, that's why you got to be very, very careful. You got to be very, very careful. If you are going to jump out there and you're going to put your stamp on something, you better make sure, first of all, that shit ain't going to somehow come back to bite you in the ass. Because if it somehow comes back, everybody's going to remember, and constantly it will be thrown in your face. They will, oh yeah, didn't he endorse whatchamacallit? Didn't he have him on his podcast? Didn't he this? Didn't he that? Man, you want to try to keep that shit as down low as much as humanly possible. Even if you're on the right side of history and you're for whoever that 90% of America is for, you still don't fucking broadcast as far as I'm concerned. You want to do that shit for your OnlyFans? You want to do that shit for your Patreon members? Have at it. You want to do that shit with your immediate family? Have at it. You want to do that shit with, your significant other? Have at it. We've gotten to that point now, sadly, in American history. We've gotten to that point now. We got to be very careful about some of the topics that we bring up in open social media. And what I mean by an open social media from the point of anybody can respond to whatever you put out there. We got to be very careful. If you're gonna say something, you're gonna put it out there for the open world to see, you got to just own it, and you got to just ride it out no matter what. You got to be prepared. Don't be scared to do that. Don't be doing that tweet and delete. Don't be doing that shit. Don't be scared now that some people are trying to hand you your ass. You just got to own that shit. And, look, as it stands, not for nothing, as it stands, have we seen Jericho to the point, own up? Nah. And he probably never will. I mean, he's already been embarrassed as it is, so he's probably not gonna, you feel where I'm coming from? I mean, would you? Shit, would you? I probably would stay very fucking clear of that, like it's a dead fucking skunk in the woods. Yeah, dodge that motherfucker. But that made me chuckle. That made me chuckle seeing Corny and Jericho just kind of going back and forth there. But Corny brings up a good point. He's like, stop putting stupid shit out there, doing stupid shit, and the motherfucker wouldn't have shit to be talking about. Oh, God, crazy shit, man. Crazy shit. Let's see. Next matchup. Let's see where we going here now. Let's see. Bear with me here. Was there anything else we need to talk about with regards to Chris Jericho and MJF? I don't think there was really anything else we needed to. Yeah, that match was pretty much over and done with. So apparently Shaquille O'Neal called out Cody earlier in the night or whatever. Hey there, Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes, I won't have a fight with you, man. I won't have a fight with you. Cody Rhodes, listen up, man. You don't even need to be fighting. I ain't doing nothing for the next couple of days. I'll fight you anywhere, anytime, Cody. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna fight you anytime. How about I fight you in March? All right, so you want to kick somebody's ass badly. I mean, just really stop and picture that for a second. I can't stand your guts, fool. You piss me off every single time I look at you. Every time I see your face, I just want to ball up my fist and I just want to punch your lights out. I just want to break all them pretty ass teeth of yours. I can't stand you. I want a piece of your ass right now. I want it right now. Any possible chance I can have your ass. Anytime, any place, you name it. I'm ready right now. Give me a piece. I'm ready now. Tell you what, let's fight in March. And you just like, wait, what? I mean, that's literally what Shaq did. I'm like, huh? Wait a minute. So you want a piece of Cody? You want to kick his ass? You want to do this? You want to do this? Anytime, any place. He's ready right now. Let's go. Let's have at it. How about this? I'll fight you in March. I'm just face palming at that shit, man. Seriously, I'm face palming at that shit. But apparently, Shaq put out this little challenge. So Tony Schiavone gets a hold of Cody, and they're doing a talking segment and everything. Cody said, hey, I'd love to respond. I'd love to respond to this. And yeah, I'm going to do my best to respond to this. As everybody knows, I'm a little bit distracted right now. I'm having a baby with Brandy Rhodes. And I love how Cody said Brandy's. First he goes, I'm having a baby. Yeah, and I guess he kind of thought about that a little bit. And he's like, shit, that's probably going to make Botchamania. Brandy's having the baby. And it's like, dude, you're okay, man. You're okay. You're okay. Matthew's got enough content for the week. Trust me, you can slide on this one. But Cody, all of a sudden, he gets a baby daddy chant. And that actually was a pretty funny thing to hear. It actually was. And he followed up. He said, it's in these moments I've got to go to my right-hand man. I've got to go to my mentor. I got to go to my coach, Arn Anderson, who's been chewing my ass out every time he feels I've been doing something wrong. Take, for instance, when I fought Peter Avalon. Arn Anderson chewed my ass out. He felt I had took Peter Avalon too lightly. Arn's been right. Every single time he's opened his mouth and he's spoken about something, let me tell you something. I've known this man since I was 20 years old. He's been on freaking point. I'm going to let Arn speak right now. So, Double A grabs the mic and say, yeah, you damn right you deserve that ass chewing. I'm going to earn my money tonight because, I may contradict myself, a couple of times here and there. Yeah, Cody's about to be a dad. Yep, that's definitely right. But that's definitely the most important thing Cody's got going on in his life right now. But he wanted for Cody to remember one definite thing that happened in his life. And he took it back to June 29th, 1985. This was the day Dusty Rhodes was at the LA Forum to fight Tully Blanchard for 30 minutes. After that match was over, he flew cross country to come back home to see the birth of his son, Cody Rhodes. So, nice setup that Double A did there, because you're like, where are we going with the story? You see where you go, like, ooh, good landing. So if Cody chooses March the 7th to jump in this match with Shaq, he's got to go into this arms wide open. He's got to go into this no regrets. He's got to basically be able to deliver the goods. But most importantly, he's got to be able to rise to that occasion. He's got to be able to rise to that level in facing Shaq. And Double A admitted, Shaq, this is somebody that he's seen for 19 years, dominating his respected sport just to prove his worth and everything, and look at what he's been doing outside of basketball. This man has been a force to reckon with as well. So I like the way Double A was really coming at this, basically, look, you need to have concerns here about Shaq. But then it also set up Arn to invite Red Velvet into the ring. And he says to Cody, pay attention here. Look into this person's eyes. Tell me what you see as they're coming out and when they get in the ring. And when we see that it's Red Velvet and everything, Arn asks Cody, what do you see? Do you see what I'm talking about? And Cody doesn't quite calculate what Arn is saying. He says to him, she's got it. She's got that fire. She's fired up. Basically, she's got that eye of the tiger. And that's what Cody needs right now. Red takes the microphone, looking into the camera, talked about how she was pretty much fed up, didn't appreciate all the trash talking that's been coming from Jade's mouth within recent weeks. Doesn't appreciate the fact that Brandy can't be there defending herself, as she know Brandy would. So as far as Red Velvet is concerned, she is looking to stir it up with Jade, and her own words, not mine, shut that bitch's ass up. Good stuff right there. Cody looked pretty confident after that one, and now it looks like the ball has been put back into the court of Shaquille O'Neal and Jade. Be interesting to see what's going on with their rebuttal, but it seems that this is pretty much, at least on the side of Cody and Red Velvet, hey, Revolution, they're on. The Shaq and Jade accept. Looking forward to seeing that. I put an interesting question out there, and maybe I'll have to rely on some veteran podcasters, and that's cool. I love it, mixing it up with my buddies. But this is definitely extended to you, the listeners. I'm most curious. Can anybody explain to me why Shaquille O'Neal and WWE did not work out? I'm just curious there, because it seemed like for the longest time, WWE was so close to doing something with Shaquille. I remember there was even, if I remember right, I believe there was supposed to be a Shaquille O'Neal and a Big Show matchup. And you're like, man, that actually would be pretty damn good. But for whatever respected reason, things fell apart. I mean, you heard rumblings over the years. 1 minute you hear, Shaq wanted more money. Shaq wanted this, Shaq wanted that. But for whatever respected reason, just when you thought it was going to happen, it didn't happen. Big Show still wants that match with Shaquille O'Neal, by the way. He still looks at that match with Shaquille O'Neal, or fight rather. He still looks at that as a dream WrestleMania match. Very weird. Very, very fucking weird. I just don't get that. I just don't get it. And just to kind of rewind it back to you, for you guys, it's not as if, well, that's just some shit on the paper, blah, 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 blah. No, you got to rewind it back to Monday Night Raw 2009. This was right before the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. 7 years later at WrestleMania 32. Those two guys actually did, look across one another in the ring, Shaquille O'Neal and the Big Show. And Big Show had said, let's see, in a perfect scenario at WrestleMania, it would be Big Show versus Shaquille O'Neal. That would be the perfect scenario, because we never really got to make that happen. That's one of those stones I'd like to get out of my shoe and settle that. Who's the best big man period. And there were talks, if I remember this right, I'll rely on you guys to correct me if I'm wrong. There were talks that at WrestleMania 33, the fight was supposed to happen, but for whatever respected reason, it did not come through. And now you got Shaquille O'Neal working with AEW. Big Show had said in a interview with metro.co.uk that he wasn't retiring from the ring and that he was looking forward to being more of a prominent figure again after a long spell out due to injury. And the topic of Shaquille O'Neal popped up, and he said, "That's funny. I've been asked a lot, are you interested in another championship opportunity or a championship match?" And he said, "I definitely think in 2021, I'm a guy that's always looking for opportunity. If I get the opportunity to compete for a coveted championship, absolutely." So, as far as Big Show is concerned, there's a lot that Big Show is still trying to do, believe it or not. I know some of you guys hear that. You may kind of roll your eyes when you hear that. But, to hear Big Show say, look, I definitely still feel that I can compete. I would still love for some type of way to make that fight between me and Shaquille O'Neal happen. Just very curious, what the hell went wrong there? But that's then, this is now. But I guess what I'm trying to figure out is what exactly did Turner Sports and crew, what exactly were they able to give to convince Shaquille O'Neal to do this versus, okay, WWE, they came up to bat, they tried to take a swing, and they felt, what was the one up? What was the one up there? Or is this a situation where, as part of Shaquille O'Neal's new contract, because let's not also forget, I don't know how many of you guys may remember this, we talked about it here on the show, but Shaquille O'Neal, he did sign a new contract with Turner Sports. And that new contract, man, I mean, he is making some damn good money with Turner Sports. I know as part of the deal, he's supposed to be popping up. I think, on CNN more. He's not going to be talking, anything political as far as I know. He's just supposed to, maybe be talking about some major, some maybe monumental things that's maybe happening in sports, things of that nature. But the new deal that he signed with Turner Sports, I believe it was for about 5 years, give or take. Again, I'm just going off of memory here. He's also supposed to serve as an executive producer for a lot of projects with Turner Sports and Bleacher Report, as he's partnering up with Bleacher Report for new content. They're basically going to be using his likeliness, his brand and all that to help take them to that next level. So I wonder if somehow, as part of that deal, if somehow AEW might have been kind of mixed in there as well, but for whatever respective reason, this is where we are right now. I'll let you guys continue to marinate on that one. Ryan Nemeth took on Hangman Adam Page. That last name should sound familiar to you guys. It really should. If he looked very familiar to you guys, he really should, because he's the younger brother of Nick Nemeth, who you all know as Dolph Ziggler from WWE. That's a guy, I just don't get that one. That's a guy, came through OVW, came through FCW, went through NXT, and for whatever respected reason, 2013, released by WWE, and pretty much was on the independents here and there since then. So 36 years of age, doing his thing in AEW. Look, I gotta say, this match between him and Hangman Page, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it thoroughly. This was actually, for me, one of my pleasant surprise matches of the night. It was. Good shit. Actually, good shit. Um, you know, Ryan Nemeth, that's a guy I'll just never understand why WWE passed up on him. I think they missed out on something, I don't know, special. I don't know if I want to use that word special, but I just kind of feel as though they missed out. They really, really did. But he got to show off his skills. He got to put some increase in his stock. You know, hopefully that leads to other things. Hey, hopefully maybe it might lead to him getting a permanent spot in AEW. Only time will tell. Real story to this match, though, at ringside. I knew you'd come. That's what I said to her. Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy was at ringside, cheering on Hangman Adam Page. I thought for sure maybe he was there for Ryan, but he wasn't. He was actually there for Adam Page. And after the match was over, Hangman Page picking up the W. Classic fucking fashion too, by the way. Connecting with that fucking buckshot, then going for the cover. He had a couple of words with Hangman Page. Matt Hardy did. Tony Schiavone wanting to get the scoop. Asked for both men to hang tight so he could interview them. Wanted to know what that exchange was all about. And Matt broke it down. I was expecting to hear something big money, Matt. So I was expecting that. But I got thrown by a curveball. I'm sure many of you got thrown by the curveball as well. Matt Hardy saying to Hangman Adam Page, look, I just want you to know I'm there for you. And I sincerely mean that. I know that with regards to the Bucks and Hangman Adam Page, they pretty much turned their backs on you. You got the freaking Dark Order. You know, they're trying to wiggle and maneuver their way into acquiring your services and all that. He's like, look, man, I don't want nothing from you. There's nothing you have that I want. I just want you to know I see the struggles that you've been going through these past several months. I see how you're pretty much a loner. I mean, for God's sake, man, I see where you're dressing. You know, you don't have a locker room. You're not dressing with other people. You're pretty much dressing up right beside catering. Hey, look, anytime you want to dress, you know I got a locker room. You're more than welcome to use that locker room. I sincerely mean that. For nothing. Anytime you want it, just use the locker room. Feel free to use it. So, you know, it was nice hearing that. And you're like, wow, that's a nice little soft spot. But then you're thinking about, well, wait a minute now. Been seeing Big Money Matt running around here for some weeks now. Come on, really? Really? Like, come on, I smell something fishy going on here. Surely Matt Hardy is just playing the game, right? You know, that's what you would legit like to believe there, that he's just playing the fucking game. He's just toying with him there. He sees what a huge acquisition that would be if he was able to acquire the services of Hangman Page, surely. Tell you another match that for me was, oh, yeah, this is the shit for the night. Icing on the cake as well. Best damn match out of AEW tonight. Jungle Boy taking on Dax Hardwood. Boy, this young man, Jungle Boy, his father would be proud. I sincerely mean that. I don't throw that loosely. I legit mean, you know, I said his son would be proud. His dad would be proud. Forgive me there. His dad would be proud. This for me was arguably the best match of the night. I can only look back on just a handful of matches where when I look at the career of Jungle Boy thus far, one of the first matches that come to mind where I say, check this out. Look at where this young man is in his game. And he hasn't even hit his fucking peak yet. And for me, what he was doing with MJF. And if I were to pull up another example, look at when he took on Cody. And if I remember it right, I believe that was for the TNT Championship. What him and Cody did was fucking phenomenal. Here's Jungle Boy yet again rising to the occasion, and this time against Dax Hardwood. Shit, man, this was a fucking clinic. And just to add more icing to the cake, we had Luchasaurus, who had Tully Blanchard and oh fuck, I'm drawing a blank on the other guy from Fear the Revolution. Why am I drawing a blank? His name is not coming to me for whatever respected reason. Yeah, give me a second. His name's gonna come to me. His name's gonna come to me. If you guys want to help jog my brain right now, because I got a brain fucking fart. That's what I get for not really like doing my best to remember these fucking guys' name, man. Dax Hardwood, Wilder. I got it. Wilder. It popped in my head. I didn't have to look it up. Wilder. Yeah, they were handcuffed to Luchasaurus to ensure that there was going to be a decisive victor in this match. And so you're going, well, now this should be fun. But yeah, this was a great one-on-one matchup between these guys. It just, seeing Jungle Boy rise to the occasion in this match just further heightened my faith even more in the fact of this is a breakout main event star. He is definitely a future Impact player, and yeah, for sure, for fucking sure, loved it. Fucking loved it. Jungle Boy winning this one over Dax Hardwood via submission, nonetheless. Via fucking submission. Loved it. Fucking loved it. Post-match, though, that's where things get really interesting. Post-match, Tully and Wilder, they gang up on freaking Luchasaurus. I don't know how the hell they managed to finally get out of the handcuffs, because I think one of them had the keys to the handcuffs or whatever. But they managed to get themselves out. They did a quick beatdown on Luchasaurus. They also did a beatdown on, drawing a blank there. They also did a beatdown on Jungle Boy. Do insult to injury, they handcuffed Luchasaurus to the ropes. They took a pair of scissors. I thought for sure they were getting ready to cut my man's mask off. That's not what they did, however. They actually cut the horns off his mask. So, insult to injury number one. By the way, I love the tweet that my girl put out there, Nyla Rose. Nyla Rose put out a tweet trying to get the attention of PETA, asking them to look into that matter of the fact that a harmless, defenseless species was brutally attacked tonight. Good shit. They then tried to take those same pair of scissors and cut off the hair of Jungle Boy, but by then, I believe it was SCU, a couple other cats, they came out, FTR, Tully Blanchard, they pretty much made their exit after that. By the way, sweet-ass pile driver. Sweet-ass fucking pile driver that FTR, with the help of Tully. Tully actually came from the top rope to fucking spike that head down to the canvas there. Great setup there. I think they did that to Jungle Boy, if I remember right. I believe they did that to Jungle Boy. Good shit. Good shit. Good ass match. Good ass match. I was very surprised though that Tully Blanchard was able to do that fucking spot there with the pile drive. Some good shit. Britt Baker taking on the beautiful, the lovely, the in-ring veteran herself, Shauna. This was another one that was pretty damn good. Britt Baker picking up the W. Britt continues. This is the best thing that I love. I love the fact of once in a while, I'll miss a couple of weeks of a show. And then it's nice to be able to just come in and see, okay, so where are you in your progression? Have you gotten better since last I checked you out? Have you improved in any type of way? Can I come away with something? And for me, it's been refreshing to see Britt Baker continue her evolution, all around continuing to be an excellent in-ring performer, continuing to excel on the mic. This girl is fucking money. She is fucking money. She's made leaps and bounds, and it just puts a big ass smile on my face, because when I see where she's at right now, and when I think about where she was pretty much the beginning of Dynamite, I can only imagine how nerve-wracking it might have been early on when she was getting unwarranted. It's one thing to offer constructive criticism, but to just bitch, and then use it as an opportunity to throw shade, to throw venom and all that. I'm sure that probably kind of irked her just a little bit, but she's done a phenomenal job, and it also pays to have a really good support of people around you, not to mention her husband there, leading the charge there as far as good morale support. Really helps having a good core group there keeping you straight and helping you stay the correct course and everything. This was a good match. I love the fact that Shauna went into this with the type of energy that she had. There was a couple of kinks here and there that needed to be worked out, but both women, as far as I was concerned, they rose to the occasion in this one. So you ain't gonna really find me crapping on this match. I thought it was another highlight of the night. And as Britt just continued to add insult to Shauna, we hear the music of Thunder Rosa come out. Sure enough, Rosa was there, and she chases Britt into the crowd, and then afterwards, she being Thunder Rosa, follows up with Shauna, checks in on her and everything. Backstage segment, MJF looking for Sammy Guevara. He finally finds him and says, hey man, just want to let you know, I did not tell Wardlow to get involved. Remember, goes back to the match at the beginning there. But he says, hey, I didn't tell Wardlow to get involved there. And MJF calls him out on the bullshit and says, nah, man, you ain't going to get me on, Sammy Guevara, rather, calls out MJF on his bullshit and says, you're not going to pull that one over my head. I see exactly the type of game that you're playing. I'm not having it. And MJF says to him, okay, so you sure you want to play it this way? And Sammy follows up, young man, years ahead of his time. Of all the type of rebuttals you could have, I was not expecting the rebuttal that Sammy gave to MJF, which was, I'm not playing games. That was nice. I like seeing that maturity there, that evolution. I love seeing that in fucking Sammy. So now you can't help but wonder what's next in that chapter. You feel as though this really does feel as though what I had said some months back. I believe I said it about 3 to 4 months ago now. I said, man, wouldn't it be something if MJF was somehow able to go into the inner circle, pretty much make it implode from within, and get Chris Jericho out of inner circle as the leader, take it over. That's how you could essentially get Chris Jericho to come back essentially as a babyface and all that. That would be pretty fucking badass. It really comes off as though that's the route we seem to be going. It really does. All right, main event match of the evening: Young Bucks and the Good Brothers taking on Dark Order. Uh, you know, I mean, first off, was anybody actually expecting for the Dark Order to actually win this one? I don't really think so. Um, it was an okay tag match for what it was worth. Me personally, I wouldn't have minded if Britt Baker and Shauna actually would have closed out Dynamite for this week. I actually totally would have been okay with that. Um, this one, it was, it was what it was, but it didn't really whet my appetite of, oh, I got to stick around and I got to check this out. You feel where I'm coming from? And that has nothing to do with the Dark Order. No shade to them whatsoever, but yeah, that's just where I'm coming from. After the match was over, Young Bucks had said to the Good Brothers how, hey, there's going to be a tournament coming up. I believe the tournament, matter of fact, let me look at my notes right now here. Now I'm actually gonna go to the notes here. There's actually a tournament. Give me a second here. And I can actually tell you guys. Yeah, there's gonna be a tag team battle royal at AEW's Revolution. And whoever wins that, am I reading this right? Yeah, whoever wins that is going to be in line for a shot at the AEW World Tag Team Championships. And so Young Bucks, they pretty much, actually, you know what? Hang on a second. Hang on. So I'm getting my, I think I might be getting my shows mixed up here. Give me a second here. Yeah, that's kind of throwing me off right now. I need for AEW and Impact, but particularly AEW, I need them to clean their shit up a little bit better. So let me set this up properly, and I'll tell you guys how I got a little confused there. So Young Bucks, as we know, in case you're keeping tabs, Young Bucks are your current AEW World Tag Team Champions. You wouldn't know that, especially if you were maybe checking out the product for the very first time, because at least the way it had looked when the Bucks came out there, maybe I missed it, but I ain't seen no tag belts with them. But the Good Brothers, they sure as hell had the Impact World Tag titles on them. So, kind of have that in the back of your mind. After the match was over, the main event match was over, Young Bucks, they had grabbed a microphone and they said, hey, next week is Beach Break. And that's the one that I'm thinking. That's why I was a little bit confused. Beach Break, which is next week, whoever wins the Battle Royal. Home in on this now. I want you guys to marinate on this for a hot minute. Whoever goes into Beach Break next week and wins that Battle Royal gets a shot at the titles at Revolution. Now, Matt Jackson, he talked about how they are also in the match, which means they get to pick their opponents if they win. Matt follows it up saying that it could be anybody, and he looks right at Gallows and Anderson. Two sweet gestures done in the ring. Phoenix runs out, tries to attack the Young Bucks. Good Brothers, they immediately take him down. Get ready to hit him with the Magic Killer. All of a sudden, Moxley runs to the ring, pretty much clears everybody out. Phoenix comes in with a flipping senton on the Anderson. Omega soon comes out. he pretty much ran right into a goddamn paradigm shift, though, but that didn't end well for him. He's pretty much knocked out after that. Moxley, Phoenix, they celebrate as the show goes off the air. So that's pretty much how AEW wrapped it up. So I'm glad that it went out on a strong note, because I didn't particularly care about the main event match, but it went out on a very strong note. So, you're kind of getting the impression right here. So it could possibly be, looking into the crystal ball, we could possibly be seeing champion versus champion maybe somewhere down the road here. Okay, that kind of sounds a little bit interesting, But then you start really, really thinking about it a little bit more and you go, well, you know what? This is now another opportunity here where AEW can show their dominance yet again, which brings me to another point, which if you're watching the web stream version of this, you see the title of the episode, which basically is talking about my concerns for Impact Wrestling. Let's be honest here. You're checking out what's been going on with Impact Wrestling for the past several weeks now, ever since this AEW partnership has been done, right? Ever since it came into fruition, it seems that AEW has been getting the sweeter and bigger end of the stick. We're patiently waiting to see some guys from the Impact roster come on over to AEW, do a little bit of an invasion, and what do we get? We get Gallows and Anderson. And it's like, really? Look, I'm not shitting on them. It was like, well, what about Rich Swann? What about? And I'm a little bit concerned. I am, because when I look at the Tony Khan, Tony Schiavone paid ad spots on Impact, the burial of Impact that they do every single time, while also at the same time hyping up AEW. You're going, okay, well, for the Impact fans, this works out great because, they see this and everything. And it's also kind of reminding them, hey, check out this promotion over here, which luckily does not interfere with when Impact Wrestling is on. Okay, cool. They're on a different network too. Yeah, okay, whatever. It's cool. But when you tune in to AEW, you don't get that same, you feel where I'm coming from? That give and take, it's not reciprocated back to Impact. And it's an interesting position when you really kind of take a step back and think about it. Because the one thing that's missing right now from this whole thing, from this whole AEW Impact, what's missing right now from this whole thing? What's missing is the fact that, okay, we got Scott D'Amore, who represents Impact Management, but we don't have a Tony Khan. Tony Khan owns AEW. We don't have that. And sadly, Ed Nordholm, he couldn't act if his life fucking depended on it. So what do you do right here? Because you have yourself an interesting dilemma here. What the hell do you do? I don't know if Dixie Carter even owns still a little bit through her little company or what. I wouldn't mind a fucking story arc come about where maybe, just maybe, Impact Wrestling brings her back strictly as an on-air character. Say what you will about Dixie Carter. She was starting to come into her own as a character. Not by much, but tolerable, I felt, to do what needed to be done. Just to get a particular story over. So you could maybe bring back Dixie Carter. Look, you damn sure can't bring back Jeff Jarrett. You forget about that. Besides, ain't he on WWE's payroll these days? So, you could pretty much forget about that. It's a long shot. But I personally, like my number one go-to pick, pretty much representing Impact Wrestling owners, acting on their authority and all of that shit. I personally would love it if Jim Cornette would come back, just strictly as a Impact on-air character. That's it. He has nothing to do with creative booking of matches, none of that shit. If Jim Cornette were to have any type of creative input on anything, it would be, in regards to whatever has been laid out so far for this AEW versus Impact. He can have his 2 cents in that, but for sure he definitely needs to have creative control in, okay, what is his character going to do? Okay, and how does this make sense to, you understand what I'm saying? So I mean, he would be really good. He fits that mold perfectly. Perfectly. Whether or not, here's the thing, whether or not Cornette would be interested in something like that, we hear him always say he's not leaving his home, he's not doing this, he's not doing that, he doesn't want to have anything to do with the business, he doesn't like how, insert. But come on, everybody's got a price, especially if the money is right. But then even at that, would Corny still do it? So let's say you're not able to get Corny. Let's say you're not able to get Corny to do it. Who's next? Well, you can't. Well, I'll tell you who's next. You could go with Eric Bischoff. Strictly, again, on-screen character, let him be involved strictly, same role, everything. That's somebody that could definitely, and see the names that I've gone with so far, I'm going specifically with the names of people that did not, how can I put this in a nice way? I'll just lay it out there. Then stink up the ship on Ed Nordholm's watch, since he's been in there as the new owner and all that of Impact. You feel where I'm coming from? So you got to look at it from those angles. If maybe you weren't able to acquire the services of Bischoff for that particular story arc, then the only other name I could think of that you might be able to go with, that's kind of a long shot too. What is Dutch Mantel doing these days? That's another one. What the hell is going on with Dutch Mantel? That's a name I haven't heard of in a good minute. What's going on with him? Maybe. But you do have some options there. They're a bit limited, but you do have options. Whether or not that's where we go, that remains to be seen. But I think we all can be in agreement when you really kind of take a step back and you think about it. AEW has Tony Khan, but who does Impact Wrestling have? Who's leading that charge into, you feel where I'm coming from? But it's continuing to feel so one-sided right now, with AEW continuing to get the dominance. You feel where I'm coming from? They're continuing to get the dominance, and when it's time for Impact Wrestling to get their little rub off, where's Impact Wrestling getting their little rub off on TNT, reminding folks, hey, Tuesday, Impact Wrestling, Access TV. Where's their nice little spot? Where's that individual that's representing Impact Wrestling, just as Tony Khan is representing AEW? Where's that face for Impact Wrestling? That's, you need that. And you also need for more continuity in these crossovers. If we can have Matt Hardy, Private Party, show up on an episode of Impact Wrestling. All right, man. Well, shit. When things was really white hot there, going into Hard to Kill, where the hell was Rich Swann? Where was Rich Swann? Moose, when it counted. Where were those guys to show up on Impact? Where were those guys? Nowhere. Nowhere to be seen. You got Impact Tag titles that's around the waist of the Good Brothers, and yet their appearance on this past Tuesday's Impact, guys, nowhere to be found. All right, we we got to balance these things out. And if you notice, well, you will notice it when you get ready to hear Impact Showdown once I've uploaded it, because the audio is ready to go. I didn't bring up Good Brothers. I didn't even bring up Good Brothers on next week's Impact Wrestling as far as the preview. You would hope that they're going to be on Impact next week. I mean, they are the Impact Tag Champs. So, yeah, it's got to be more balanced. It's got to be, because right now it's looking so one-sided. It's not even funny. I see the idea being thrown around that, maybe you do a champion versus champion. Like, no titles on the line. It's just champion versus champion versus champion. Okay, so Rich Swann, the Impact World Champion, versus Kenny Omega, the AEW World Champion. Good Brothers defending the Impact Tag titles against AEW's Tag Champs in the Young Bucks. Okay, it's got a nice ring to it. X Division Champion, whether it's TJP, it could be Rohit Raju if he's able to somehow wiggle his way back in there. Now, remember, the match that he's having against TJP next week, that ain't for the X Division title. It's actually a non-title matchup. But Rohit Raju now has a mystery partner, if you will, that's somewhat guaranteed him to at least put him in a position where he's going to be able to fight for that X Division title again. But for the time being, X Division champion TJP taking on the TNT champion. That's the route we're going, right? Okay, your women's champion and I'm drawing a blank right now. I know for our Knockouts champion right now we got Deonna Purrazzo. For your women's champion we got Shida. So Shida taking on, that should be a good matchup. Yeah? Deonna Purrazzo, Shida. That should be a good matchup. Did I leave any championships out? I don't think I left any championships out. I'm just going over the list of titles in my head. I think that's essentially all the titles. If you want to get technical, we got Moose who's still running around with that one title. So look, if we were to do that, that would definitely, you would hope that with the way things are looking right now, all signs seem to be indicating that that's eventually where we're going to be going. But see, one of the biggest problems that's going on right now, it's not even from AEW's side of things. It's really happening from, because Impact be taping these shows a couple of weeks in advance. We really need for these guys to catch the fuck up already and really do a better job in syncing up what's going on for the blueprint of the story arc and all that. We really need them to sync it up more in real time to what Impact, to what AEW is trying to do and everything. But yeah, that's pretty much where we are right now. Those are some of my concerns. Those are some of the way that things can be somewhat corrected and everything. We'll see what happens in the coming weeks. There is still that excitement that I have for everything that's going on right now, but I just needed to be a little bit more balanced, and I honestly would be fucking good to go. But look, when it's all said and done, the wrestling fan is winning big time every single week. The wrestling fan is winning big time. Just the fact that you got this great partnership that's going on between these two promotions, nothing but a lot of good can come from this if done right. That's the thing, if done right. Little bit of a rocky start so far, but still fun and enjoyable to watch. Now, AEW NXT ratings from last week are pretty much in. This is something that I miss big time. We haven't talked about AEW ratings or NXT ratings in a good fucking minute here. So looking at last week's ratings here, I'm seeing that AEW Dynamite brought in 854,000 viewers. NXT did about 659,000 viewers. Again, this is from last week. So that's pretty damn good. That's pretty damn good. I'm gonna say for this week, look, I haven't watched NXT yet. I've got that on the DVR. I'm gonna definitely be watching that next, and I will definitely be talking about that show later on during the week. I think what I'll probably end up doing for you guys, I will most likely do a show this Friday, because we still got to talk about Royal Rumble predictions and all that. So I'll actually be doing the show after SmackDown goes off the air this Friday. So by then, I'll be able to talk about NXT, give you my thoughts on that. We'll talk SmackDown. We'll talk Royal Rumble as well. But for AEW for this week, as far as their ratings go, I'm gonna say AEW. I'm gonna say they pull in. I'm gonna say I'm gonna say 824,000. 824,000. I'm gonna say for AEW. I'm not going to comment on NXT till I actually watch the show, but if you're following me on Twitter at the RCWR Show or Facebook at the RCWR Show, even on YouTube, I'll give you guys my thoughts on how I feel the ratings is going to be for NXT, and I'll actually do a recap. I'll post the 824,000 viewers for AEW, and I'll give you the official number I'm thinking that NXT is going to be able to do for this week. But just my gut instinct right now, like if you were to just pick my brain a little bit, just thinking about what I saw tonight. Shauna, Britt Baker, Jungle Boy, Dax Hardwood. I'm gonna say AEW wins yet again. I'm gonna say AEW wins in the ratings war, yet again. But we'll see. We'll see. I know that's a bit premature, especially since I haven't seen NXT yet, but that's my gut instinct. That's the vibe that I'm going with right now. So we'll see what happens. Hey, while you guys are still here, you up to this point, thank you for checking out the show. Please, I can't stress it enough. If you are enjoying the show, you like what I do, especially if you're watching this on YouTube, hit the like button. However you're checking it out, hit the like button, hit the subscribe, share. But make sure you hit the like button. When you do that, you're pretty much letting YouTube and their algorithm team know you like the content, and it helps out the algorithm team as far as recommending our content to other people on YouTube. So appreciate that in advance. Shout out to our Patreon members. Remember, patreon.com/RCWR show. That's where you can go to check out bonus audio and video content you're not going to be able to find anywhere else. I earlier today uploaded part 2 of our 30 with Lee series, reviewing the new Joker movie that came out in 2019. And part 2 of this episode, it found us exploring the endless possibilities of Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, and how he deserves to be incorporated with Robert Pattinson's Batman. But we also tackled, myself and the missus, we also tackled the idea of, well, hey, let's say it sticks to just Joker. That's a whole separate universe. That Phoenix Joker, that's going to continue to just be a separate universe. All right, who do we cast as the new Joker for this rebooted Batman trilogy, this rebooted Batman franchise? And we did a great job just going back and forth, exploring the names and everything, just kind of bouncing off of each other. So that's available on Patreon right now. I may put out one more piece of content, probably another Wrestling with the Topics, as we get ready to put a nice, pretty little bookmark on the end of January. But yeah, check it out. Shout out to our Patreon members, Anthony DeBlasi. You guys got no excuse. If my amigo Anthony DeBlasi, Don Tony, if he's a Patreon member, what the fuck is your excuse? He's checking out the content. He digs the content. What's your excuse for not checking out the content? $5 a month, you get access to bonus content. Check it out. Shout out to Anthony DeBlasi. Shout out to Gino. Shout out to J.D. Davis. Shout out to Michael Wolf. Shout out to Justin Ripstock. Tony being gaming, you want the very latest in all things Marvel Strike Force, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, Marvel's Avengers by Square Enix. For tips, tricks, news, walkthroughs, and reviews, check out Tony being gaming. He has a YouTube channel and a Patreon paywall as well. Shout out to Freddie. Shout out to you, my friend. And yeah, that's going to do it. All right, so programming notes. Friday, new RCWR show. We're talking NXT. We're talking SmackDown. Royal Rumble picks, whatever little wrestling, little tidbits of news we weren't able to get into. Should be a good show, so come hang out for that. We'll be live this Friday, 10 p.m. Eastern. I'm thinking we'll probably go about an hour, maybe 90 minutes strong. And then don't forget also, this weekend, Royal Rumble weekend. Royal Rumble is going down this Sunday. I will be live in the flesh for our Royal Rumble post show. I'm going to put a poll up. I want you guys to peep this out real quick. There's going to be a poll I'm going to post on YouTube and on Twitter. I posted on Facebook, but there's no way to fucking do it right now. It's weird what's going on. There's a weird bug going on. But anyway, listen now. Pay attention. There's going to be a poll on YouTube and on Twitter. And it's quite simple. It's going to ask you, hey, if it goes live, would you like to call into the show during the Royal Rumble to let me know what you thought about the pay-per-view? Yes or no. Your options are that simple. Majority vote wins. So if you guys decide, the majority says we want to be able to call into the post show, all right. You're going to be able to call into the post show. We'll talk about the pay-per-view, together. I'm thinking two ways that we'll probably do it. Either I'll take the calls as I'm just going over the card, and those that want to, we could do it that way. Or once I get done with the review post-show edition, we'll do a post show where I'll go live with you guys. And we'll just hang out. We'll just talk about the pay-per-view. That's another way we could do it. Or we could just go with the traditional route and just, once I get done talking about the pay-per-view, then we open up the phone line. So, I mean, we got a couple of options there, but everything starts with what's up with the majority vote. Does the majority even want to be able to call in and talk about the pay-per-view? So as soon as you see that go live, I'm going to have that go live sometime early Thursday afternoon. And I will say I will continue to tally up votes until I would say Sunday, day of the pay-per-view. And look, for those of you that's worried about, I don't want my phone bill running high. I don't want this. I don't want that. For those of you that are like a little bit concerned about that, the way that you guys would be able to call into the show, you'd be able to call into the show via Discord. We have my Discord server that's already set up. All you guys need is just a Discord link. We already got the waiting room ready to go so that you guys can just go in. We'll get your name in and all that before we put you live on the air. And then, boom, you guys are pretty much ready to go live. And then, have at it. Talk about the pay-per-view with me and everything. But that's pretty much how we're going to be doing things. So, FYI, Discord is free. It doesn't cost anything. All you got to do is just get it on your desktop, Android, iOS device, your tablet. It's free. Cool shit. So, FYI. All right. And other than that, that's pretty much going to do it. All right. So again, I got Impact Showdown. That's going to be dropping literally in a couple of minutes. The audio is saved. I was actually getting ready to upload it, but I forgot to put in the ad sponsors little spot there. So I got to slide that in. If you give me about, I would say, if you give me about 15 minutes, that audio will be available ASAP. Spreaker always has it first. I'm talking about for Impact Showdown. Spreaker will have it first. It'll trickle down to iTunes, and the other platforms as well, Spotify as well. So just FYI. All right. Get at me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Use keywords the RCWR Show. And until next go round, wishing all y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. I will see you guys next go round. Adios.